Hey guys, welcome back. Maverick here today with another episode of Tensura. And after all this meeting and all the background context, with them basically fooling around half the time, to be honest, I do think we are finally getting into some actual action here. With Clayman on the move to invade the Animal Kingdom, Euros, something of other sort. I honestly can't remember all the names that are being mentioned throughout this series. But, yeah, I do think that it is time to kick some ass, right? Even though it's, you know, they call it, like, Clayman's strongest subordinate or something of that sort. I don't know, man. I have a feeling that it's probably gonna be a walk in the park for Rimuru and friends. But we will see. We shall see. Hey, who knows? Maybe Rimuru isn't even going to be attending that battle himself. He might have bigger fish to deal with, bigger fish to fry. But, in any case, let's get into the episode and see where exactly it takes us. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Urazania. There we go. I do believe I mentioned last episode, I was wondering whether they have mass teleportation spells yet. Rimuru, I mean. No. Alright. You would think that, well... Then again, is there actually a reason to teleport an entire army over there? I mean, how many people did they say? 30,000? Although they're imagined, right? So not quite human soldiers and whatnot. But still, I kind of get the feeling that a small detachment of elite soldiers will be enough to completely swing that battle. I mean, that's what we've been seeing throughout this series so far, right? All the way up to, you know, back in the first season, when they were up against the orcs and whatnot. It's always been a small group of elite, completely, wrecking balls. Kind of reminds you of stuff like Dynasty Warriors, right? Where you're just like a one-man army going in, slashing thousands of people and whatnot. The eve of battle. Alright. Yeah. Although, I think this probably means that they're not actually gonna fight yet in this episode. Not bad. I think 78% is a pretty good probability to bet on. Yeah, see? It's Benny Bonner who's gonna lead the charge. I'm kind of curious why they actually chose at that point to allow Rimuru to ask Raphael, though. Ah, hey. You don't need to move an army. What do you guys know? They perfect transport technique. So I guess he doesn't. Uh-huh. Well, aren't you convenient, Raphael? It's like a self-learning AI. I mean, most people here are actually Majindo. So why does he even need to worry about the perfect teleportation anyways? I find it kind of funny, right? That was my first question when encountered with this situation. I'm like, just mass teleport over there. And hey, they're already doing it. Anyways, back to my original point. I think something that was quite curious is why did they allow Rimuru to ask that question to Raphael at that point? Because even if the probability of success for Clayman would have been like, I don't know, like less than 1%, that wouldn't really affect his decision to go there and help them, right? So why ask at that point? And and yeah, again, you know, back to the teleportation thing. Isn't the bulk of their army, of the Tempest army, Majin anyway? Well, that's one way to do it, brute force. I know there is Milim, right? He is a demon lord, right? Just take just take Tempest. Yay. Oh, actually, you should take Murlan. Okay, I guess Shion is gonna... Why not take Mirlan? And him. You know, it does carry your name, right? That master is more in terms of the master-pupil relationship, alright? Not like master-servant relationship. It's more like a teacher, in a sense. Alright. Okay. Oh, really? Can you use that when all magic is prohibited though? Like with a seal or something? Nope. They're coming. What about Mirlan? So I guess they aren't actually going to be attending the meeting and then being like, "No, you're completely mistaken. Here's Mirlan. You're the one in the wrong," and you know, so on and so forth. Oh, you guys are under Milim? Oh, or are they only providing supplies, but not personnel? Oh, is this the middle finger? Oop. Oh, he's being like, I already punished him for you. Yeah. Yeah, for being seemingly the quick-tempered one, he has some quick wits about him, this dude. Respect. Hmm. Wow. And this is why, typically in a lot of isekai works, or even fantasy works, anything that dealt with mass teleportation is actually overpowered. You know, as long as if you're not in a sort of pure, fantasy adventure type of setting, but you are dealing with stuff on the nation state level and whatnot. It's always a major point of contention how you use mass teleportation in your in your campaigns, military campaigns and whatnot. Oh, no shit. Yeah, so it really is the eve before the battle, eh? Huh. Are the other two kingdoms actually gonna help as well? Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow, they're actually sending out their entire army here. Right, so in the end it was all magic. So even if it wasn't a perfect teleportation, I feel like they all could have, you know, gone through quite easily. Well, maybe not easily, but still. Woof. Alright. So we're actually gonna get into it next episode. But anyways, see you guys after this. Alright, so I guess we need to wait one more episode until the big battle here. It actually turned out to be much larger scale than I anticipated, right? With tens of thousands of people on both sides attending the battle, so not quite exactly like the previous encounters that we've had up to this point. I also find it kind of funny that last episode I specifically mentioned mass teleportation, and hey, that turned out to be the way to solve it here as well. Although it actually presented itself in a slightly different manner than I was thinking. When I talked about mass teleportation last episode, I was thinking more on the scale of maybe hundreds of people, right? So what I figured was that probably, you know, Rimuru is going to send forward a sort of elite squad of the very, very best elites in order to sort of distract and divert Clayman's army and whatnot, whilst, you know, buying time for the rest of the army to march towards Eurasania, or whatever that animal kingdom is called, and you know, basically solve the problem in that way. But okay, I guess Rimuru is Rimuru, and now he can just mass teleport like tens of thousands of people, which is honestly really, really unbalanced and overpowered in a lot of ways. I mentioned in the episode, right? This is actually quite a tricky subject of discussion in a lot of fantasy works, because, you know, having mass teleportation and being able to transport armies in this way really breaks a lot of, how can I put this? The conventional rules of warfare and whatnot. You basically remove the entire logistical requirements of an army, and as many military minds and geniuses and commanders will tell you, logistics is one of the most important things in terms of actually allowing an army to battle in the first place, right? But just being able to teleport in, teleport out, that's a pretty big deal, right? And so when they were trying to explain the entire thing about why mass teleportation is not a good idea, I was like, okay, so here's the sort of restriction in place as to why they can't do it, and then that would make sense, right? In a lot of other works which go a lot deeper into this kind of things, it is an actual problem, so sometimes they also have like countermeasures like anti-teleportation wards, anti-teleportation spells, and whatnot, because just being able to teleport into whichever, wherever you want at any time you want, anytime, anywhere, that makes a real big advantage for the first mover or the first striker, the attacker, right? They can basically attack whichever time, whichever point they want without the defender knowing, and you can't really, your defensive resources are always going to be scattered, right? That's the classic attacker versus defender problem. Sure, the defender has the advantage of, having their encampments, enforcements, and so on and so forth. They can have their strong points, but on the attacking side, they decide where they can attack, right? And so that is, the classic imbalance between two opposing forces here. But anyways, that's a little bit too deep into everything. I do wonder, though, because once again, Rimuru is showing quite the OP ability here, which I'm not sure if maybe this is something that others have already mastered before and they do have countermeasures in place, but otherwise this is once again going to be something that is completely groundbreaking and shaking the sort of norms of engagement down to its core, right? Which, to be fair, is something that a lot of isekai works excel in, right? The outsider in some sort of way, bring in ideas from the modern world or bring his own unorthodox ideas and whatnot, manages to completely shape and turn the world upside down in a lot of ways due to his ideas and advancements and whatnot. So we'll have to see, right, whether this actually does become explored a little bit more in the future here. And what else was I going to say? By the way, in the end, that perfect teleportation thing didn't really matter all that much anyways, because, there were no other humans and whatnot attending the battle. The only ones attending the battle were already, the residents of Tempest, right, who all already had a certain amount of magicules and whatnot within them. And especially considering that these are the people who make up the army, you would think that they would be a little bit more stronger than just your normal monsters and whatnot, right? So they probably could have gone through even with the unupgraded teleportation technique and whatnot, but I guess it's kind of a moot point here. So yeah, anyways, we're going to have a big battle soon with of course, Benimaru leading a charge, and Guild, and many others, so that they're going to be doing their thing. Rimuru is going to be doing his thing. I was actually kind of surprised that in the end he didn't bring either Veldora or Mulan, who honestly would have been my first two picks for him to take to the meeting and whatnot. Veldora, because obviously he is he's the Storm Dragon after all. Not to mention his presence probably carries a lot of weight as well, and will tell others Rimuru is definitely not someone to be messed with. Intimidation in a lot of ways is also an equal important factor in these terms, in these sort of, I could even call them political discourses, right? Because it is in essence some sort of a diplomatic meeting in a way between these demon lords, right? So having this show of strength, saying that, hey, I got Veldora on my side, even if you don't believe that I myself, Rimuru, has the powers of a true demon lord and so on and so forth, you gotta pay respect to Veldora, right? So that's one thing. And then Muran, obviously, because I mentioned before, and heck, even Rimuru mentioned it last episode as well, Clayman is launching this entire attack and so on and so forth on a false premise here, right? So once, he is called out and basically others say that, hey, you are actually lying, maybe he's not deliberately lying, he really thinks that way, but still, he's still breaking the so-called pact or promise or alliance or whatever you want to call it on his side, right? So that would also turn the tide as well. So I was actually quite surprised that Muran that he did not take Muran along, although I guess now with teleportation spells and whatnot, he should be able to do that rather quickly and painlessly, if you will. So yeah. Anyways, beyond that, what else from this episode here? You know, lots of other things. You know, the situation with Milam's followers, subordinates, whatever you want to call them. You know, not. I guess they are going to be also part of Rimuru's allies in the future. You know, they are going to be meeting up with each other in the future, right? Because if they actually have some of their people following along with Clayman's army, then inevitably they will clash with each other, right? So hopefully that doesn't turn into some other kind of misunderstanding of sorts. But I don't know. This series doesn't really strike me as that kind of thing, right? Where Rimuru's army will inadvertently kill or harm some people working on a Milam or whatnot, because that's obviously going to complicate the entire situation. We still don't know entirely why Milam is going along with Clayman, but you know, I have my suspicions as to maybe this has to do with her original deal with Clayman, and no, Clayman, for all of the underhanded tactics that he's been using right now, I mean, at least on the surface level, towards the other demon lords and whatnot, he's doing everything by the book, right? He's like, hey, I have my casus belli, you know, I have my reason to fight against Carrion, so, you know, I'm sending out my army, but this is completely justified, you know, this is completely, you know, sanctioned by the Demon Lord Council, or whatever you want to call it. I guess not really sanctioned, but at least, you know, he's not doing anything out of the ordinary, right? He's doing things by the book, if you will. And so, I'm guessing that Milam just has some other previous agreement with Clayman that she can't really go back on her word for, because she's the Demon Lord Milam, right? And I'm guessing that Demon Lords don't really go back on their words, and so on and so forth. But in any case, that is it. Oh, or hey, maybe it could be something to do with Milam's past? Maybe Clayman has some information in regards to that. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to be blackmailing her or intimidating her through force or whatnot. But, you know, there's other ways to convince people to do your bidding, including if you have something they want, and so on and so forth. So, in any case, we'll know more by the end of this season, I guess. So, let's just leave it at that, and, you know, get ready for some good old-fashioned action in the next episode. So, see you guys, and bye-bye.